Welcome back, everyone, especially our casual fans. I'm T.
And I'm Nessa.
And together we are the Casual Fangirls, two city girls geeking out on our favorite fandoms. We are so glad to have you with us today because we are here to discuss the highly anticipated Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. I know you had that. It's cute. Where'd you get that?
I got this little, what do you call it, Beanie Baby collector thing from the movie theater when I went to see it the second time. It was sitting in there, and I was like, I need it.
It's very cute. I love it. If I would have known we were showing off toys, I got a Lego set that I plan on putting together. That's
You got a Wakanda Lego set?
I did, yeah. I got Namor's drone, and I got Shuri's like new flying airplane thing.
Nice.
So I can't wait to put that together. So
check you out.
We are geeking out, or I am geeking out pretty hard.
I love it.
Got some extra time on my hands, so I'm gonna take some time to put that together. In any event, obviously We're super excited coming off of watching Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Let's dig into some background really quickly about the movie's development before we jump into our spoiler-free thoughts, and then get into the plot of the movie and everything surrounding that. So, Wakanda Forever was directed and co-written by Ryan Coogler. He's back. He's obviously the one who directed the first Black Panther movie. And this movie stars Letitia Wright, Angela Bassett, Lupita Nyong'o, Danai Gurira, and Tenoch Huerta. The movie racked up $180 million domestically in its opening weekend, with $150 million internationally, for a total of $330 million globally. Now, in comparison, the prequel, regular Black Panther, came out a couple of years ago, opened up to $200 million domestically. But nevertheless, just like its predecessor, Wakanda Forever is still breaking records, and it's officially the highest grossing opening weekend for a November movie premiere, which is pretty great. I think it surpassed like Hunger Games Catching Fire or something along those lines. Way back when. So, I mean, as we mentioned, the anticipation of this movie is super high, and it was fueled first and foremost by the untimely passing of the franchise star, Chadwick Boseman as King T'Challa, the Black Panther, and the anxiety surrounding how the MCU will evolve due to the decision to not recast the character T'Challa. Second, they're introducing a long-awaited and beloved character / villain, Namor, one of the oldest characters in Marvel Comics. I think he was like the third or fourth character to ever be introduced in the Marvel Comics ever. So like he's been around forever. And finally, after a quasi-lackluster year for superhero movies, closing out 2022 and the MCU's Phase 4 with a bang. So audiences were very interested in seeing how this movie, raised to the expectations of all three of those different areas. But that being said, the movie has invoked a lot of emotions for many different audiences, and we are here to discuss all of it. Now, before we dive into the nitty-gritty and all the details, first, as always, we're going to do a quick overview of our spoiler-free feelings and review of reactions to the movie. Nessa, I'll let you go first. How'd you feel after watching this movie?
It was definitely an emotional roller coaster. Like, I laughed, I cried, I got upset. I was pissed in some parts, but all in all, it was an enjoyable experience, and I had a good time, especially watching it in a New York City theater. For those who don't know, I live in Texas. My theater's on the smaller side and kind of quiet. And so when I go in there, I'm usually the loudest one in the theater. And so it was nice to like actually sit in a theater with people who are obviously as invested in these movies as we are, and who are clapping, cheering, crying, and doing all those things. So it's just overall a great experience. I was definitely nervous about the direction that the movie would be going in. And I just didn't know like exactly what the plot was going to be. So there was some anxiety around that, because I was just like, y'all cannot mess this up. Y'all can't do it. And I'll say overall, like, I am very happy with the outcome. I think it turned out great. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the experience. I thought it was awesome. I thought they did the thing for sure. What about you?
I want to add that the reason why Nessa had such a good time in the theater is because she was sitting next to me. So just want to add that on there.
Absolutely.
Hearing all my jokes and comments live about the movie. It felt good to be back in Wakanda for me. I was most anxious about how they were going to handle the explaining of T'Challa's death within the world that we've grown to love, and I was so pleasantly surprised at how well it was handled. I think they very much did justice by the character and the late actor Chadwick Boseman based on the decision to not recast, and that was my biggest fear. So I think they nailed it. The introduction of Namor was fantastic. He's become one of my favorite characters in the MCU instantly, I think to say, as a villain / antagonist. You know, I love a villain with a point, and boy, does Namor have a point.
For sure.
I have some slight issues with the plot, as I always do, but overall, I think they hit this out of the park. I'm so pleased with it.
Yeah,
very much.
So, yes. So now, before we get into the plot and how T felt about all the stuff and how we all felt about it, let's get into our spoiler warning. Excuse me. So y'all know what time it is. We are about to get into the plot and discuss the details of Wakanda Forever. And so if you're not prepared to hear about it, we highly suggest that you watch the movie. Come back and join us. We'll also definitely be discussing the plot points. Excuse me. Sorry. I got a little tickle in my throat. We'll also be discussing the other plot points from the other MCU movies, especially the ones where Black Panther has appeared, including Civil War, Black Panther, Infinity War, and Endgame. But also, just to be safe, it's a blanket spoiler warning for the MCU as a whole. Because, you know, we like to draw comparisons. We like to make connections. We're amateur detectives trying to figure out a murder, you know? So casual or not, we're going to be getting into the details. So let's get to it, T.
Love it, love it, love it. Let's hop right into it. So the film opens with Shuri scrambling to save T'Challa from a mysterious illness. She's working on synthesizing the heart-shaped herb. Remember, that was burnt by a Killmonger in the previous movie, hoping that it will do the trick when her mother, Queen Ramonda, walks into the lab. The Queen announces that T'Challa is gone, and then we cut immediately to the Marvel Studios opening. We're going to pause there really quickly because right out the gate, there are things to talk about. So essentially, this is how they are explaining the character T'Challa's death within the MCU. He fell sick with a mysterious illness and passed away very suddenly. And when I saw this in the movie theater, you know, right afterwards, like I said, they cut to the Marvel credits or whatever. It gave me the opportunity to really sit and like process that in real time. And it made me think, wow, they recreated the feeling after Chadwick's death, but like within the MCU, you know? And I just thought that was a very simple, elegant, and profound way to recreate. I mean, I had so much anxiety about how they were going to explain it, and they literally just told what actually happened, and I thought it fit so well. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a smart way to kind of go about it because we did all go through it together and have all those similar feelings. So to bring it back again, it's like bringing us back to that moment and putting us all there together. Because I mean, all in all, like the movie is almost like us all mourning Chadwick's passing and T'Challa's passing. And so we're all on this ride together with Shuri as she's going through these feelings with Queen Ramonda and everyone else as they're going through these films. So I thought that was a brilliant way to explain it and probably the best way that they could have done it, honestly.
Agree. Right after that, we cut to the opening credits, and two things stood out about the opening, like Marvel sign credits, as they usually show all the snapshots and depictions of all the heroes we love doing really awesome things. With this it wasn't even a title sequence, but with this like Marvel Studios sequence, it was only images and clips of Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm.
And above and beyond being T'Challa, like it wasn't T'Challa clips, it was Chadwick Boseman clips, because it was even clips of him outside of the MCU universe, like from press tours and things of that sort. So I thought that was really, really fitting, and there was no music at all behind it. So the audience as a group, we're all sitting in silence as we kind of watch this silent tribute to Chadwick Boseman, the actor. And that was when the first tear dropped for me.
Mm. Yeah, it was definitely emotional, and like just knowing that the whole theater was quiet, it was just, ooh, it was so eerie. It was a wild, wild feeling, but it it was that moment of silence for him, and yeah, it was emotional.
That's
I think it
exactly
was emotional for everyone.
it was the moment of silence, and they didn't even have to tell us to do it. We kind of just knew.
Everyone
Right?
knew. Yeah.
Everyone knew.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I want to say really quickly before we like dig into more details is that this movie was released, and this is something that I picked up on that you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but I wanted to call it out. This movie was released on November 11th, or 11/11, and the number 11/11 is significant to a lot of people who believe in the spiritualness of and signs that numbers can give to us. I know it's pretty popular in many different cultures, but also within the African diaspora, there's some belief that if you constantly see a number like 444 or 11/11, that it means something. And for 11/11 specifically, some people believe that if you see the number, randomly or constantly, it means a couple of different things, like an angel is in your presence in some capacity, or it signals some sort of spiritual awakening. Others think it represents like your instinct. Others think it means a period of change is about to start. Like there's so many different meanings behind it. All of it good, and I think all of it kind of sort of relevant to the journey that the audience goes on within this movie. And I just thought, I don't know if it was coincidence or if it was planned, but I thought that if it was planned, that it was an interesting way to signal a little bit of more significance behind the movie. So just wanted to call that out really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get back to the movie, I know, Vanessa. When we get back from the title credits, we go straight into the funeral, which I think a lot of us saw snippets of in the trailer for the movie. So we witnessed T'Challa's funeral as everyone celebrates his life and mourns his death, all dressed in white.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have many thoughts about this. Like I said, a lot of the snippets from this sequence was from they showed in the trailer itself. But did you have any thoughts about the funeral itself?
I just want to call out like the costuming. I thought was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I later on noticed was that Shuri has the face paint, the dots on her face, which was interesting to me because she also has them like when she goes into battle. Mm-hmm. And we'll see them again later on when we get to that point. But just all of that kind of connecting together. And I thought the costuming was incredible. I thought the outfits were amazing. I don't know where he goes because they like shoot him up into the sky. And then I don't know where the body goes or what they do with the body after that. But like, that was interesting. But either way, it's like, I don't know. It was like him floating into the heavens kind of a thing. It was emotional when you see the Black Panther symbol etched into the coffin. Yeah. So I just thought it was beautiful. I thought it was great that it felt almost like one of those New Orleans kind of funerals where people are dancing in the streets and stuff like that. Even
celebration of life,
yeah, it's a sad occasion, but it's still a celebration of life and that balance. And just seeing how distraught Shuri is and how she seems so lost in everything that is happening. So I thought it was beautiful. I thought it looked amazing. I thought it was beautiful seeing the mural. There's a bunch of other murals in real life. For Chadwick and everything. So I just thought that was great. And somebody said that the writing on it was, I'm going to paraphrase it and mess it up, but it was something like the Black Panther lives forever in us or something like that. It's
Oh,
what it says on the wall in Wakandan, something like that.
nice.
Don't
Like
quote
it.
me. Yeah.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah, definitely seeing the masses in white. That feels, and I didn't think about it until that. And we wear black for funerals normally in a lot of cultures, a lot of societies, and something about seeing everyone in white when I was in the theater, I was like, oh no, wait, that feels better to me,
Hmm.
like seeing everyone in white versus seeing everyone in black. And I don't know if we can start a movement to get people to start wearing white to funerals, but I like it. Like it feels less daunting, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed it. So
I mean, when my grandmother
agreed.
passed away, her kids, my dad and his, brothers and sisters, they all wore white, and like immediate family wore white as well.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm with
Yeah, I
it.
mean, I know it exists in a lot of different cultures. I guess I haven't been a part of any um, funeral events where that's happened. So it was my first time seeing it, and I was like, I like that.
Gotcha.
Cool.
I'll wear white
Oh,
for you.
I mean, yes, please wear white for me. But we all know now that you're kind of Wakandan anyway. We'll get to that in a second. But
Yes.
that's
Can't wait. All right.
we're gonna talk
What's
about
up next?
so we after the funeral we skipped a year later. A year later in the timeline, Queen Ramonda is called to a UN conference in Geneva as the US and France scold Wakanda for not sharing their resources, specifically vibranium. The Queen makes it clear Wakanda is more than capable of protecting itself, even after the king's death. This scene is cut with French mercenaries breaking into a Wakandan outreach center and being easily subdued by the Dora Milaje, who then deliver the mercenaries to the conference as a display of their ability to protect themselves, while the Queen warns all other nations to back off. Now, two things I want to highlight here. First, with the UN conference and everything that was going on, one thing that stood out to me was like, yeah, T'Challa said that they were going to share their resources with the rest of the world, but he never specifically said vibranium. And I kind of feel like Queen Ramonda should have been like, we didn't say we was going to share vibranium with y'all. Like, just call a spade and just call it out. What do you think?
First of all, the fact that they are trying to like scold her like she's a child. Like, yes, you said you were going to share your toys and you didn't share them. I don't like that. I was like, ew. First of all, but it made me even happier that it was like, they were like, ooh, wait, T'Challa died. We're going to close back in. Y'all carry on, do y'all thing. I would like to think that they are at least still helping like black areas and black neighborhoods and black nations. I would like to hope that much, but I don't know. The way it seemed like she wasn't really doing much of anything. But I'm also not mad at them for that, because if you've lost your Black Panther, you've lost your king. Now it's like, ooh, wait a minute, we got to protect ours, regroup, and then maybe figure out what we want to do moving forward. So I'm not even mad at that choice, but I'm really mad that US and France especially are sitting up here trying to like talk to her like she a kid. And she was like, nope, we're not going to do that. Okay. Our king may be dead, but don't get it twisted. We can definitely protect ourselves and do what we need to do. And if y'all don't leave us alone, we know how to F some ish up. So
Yes.
play with me if you want to.
Yep.
Play with it if you want to.
You gotta find out. Go ahead, keep effing around. Go ahead. That's exactly what she said.
F around and find out.
That's exactly what she said. I mean, some of the arguments that mostly France was making was like vibranium can't be detected anywhere. It could be made for weapons of mass destruction. And Queen Ramonda shut that down quick and was like, look, vibranium is not a threat. People are, but not vibranium, which is why we're not giving it to anybody. So y'all can calm all that down.
Right.
Furthermore, France, don't let me tell y'all again. Here go y'all mercenaries back. And don't let me tell you again. With Queen Ramonda and Wakanda, like obviously catching France in the act, I felt like that was super strong foreshadowing that the U.S., who's also there trying to get vibranium, was going to try some slick stuff sometime soon as well, which we will see in a hot second. The other thing I wanted to comment on about the scene that was like potent for me in the theater was like this meta commentary on Black trauma. If you allow me for a hot second to get on my high horse for a hot second, but
go for it.
Black men are taken from their families at all ages, but at exceptionally younger ages, by far above and beyond all other races, in some sort of untimely fashion for a myriad of reasons, but most especially systemic racism towards Black people being the main one. And this sequence, Queen Ramonda having to defend her family, her country, her way of life against these outside people who seek to literally steal something from them, I thought was a very interesting representation in this like fantasy fictional world of how it literally goes in so many Black families across America, across the world, who have to deal with the Black men in our families being taken away from us way sooner than they were supposed to be. You know, it's the men are taken away, and now the women who are left behind have to deal with managing the family, managing the household, becoming their own protectors. They have to fight that same system who's constantly trying to use them for their own gain. Families are, you know, torn apart, aren't allowed to properly mourn. They don't have enough time to like just mourn the people. Like, obviously, Queen Ramonda and Shuri are still not over all of their hurt and their pain and their despair from losing their family member. And the rest of the world's like, we don't give a crap. Give us that vibranium.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like they don't have time to mourn. You know, women are often forced to become that strong Black woman trope that, you know, people use against us, and just to make sure that their family, or in this case, their country, is running smoothly. And I just thought that was a brilliant, and I don't even know if this was deliberate. I wouldn't put it past Coogler for it to be deliberate. I think it could possibly be, but I thought it was brilliant, a brilliant way to show that.
Yeah, I think it definitely is deliberate, because if you look at even the cast of the movie, it's all focused around the women and what they're doing and how they're supporting the family. So I think that's brilliantly said, Dr. T.
Meanwhile, speaking of the U.S. Finding out, and then, you know, after effing around, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, a vibranium detector finds vibranium in the ocean. The CIA, the U.S. CIA, who are on the ship kind of running this operation, are attacked by mysterious people from the sea. These superpowered people, who are also blue, kill everyone, and we catch a glimpse of a flying figure with winged feet. I thought this sequence was so cool. Like, it was almost kind of like the suspense behind it. I thought was really, really neat. It gave me like Alien vibes, like the movie Alien, or like Alien versus Predator and stuff like that. It gave me that like suspense, like what monster is behind the shadows kind of thing. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved seeing how, yeah, because it almost like turned into like a horror film, because they were like, hey, where's your partner? And she turns around and he's gone. She's like, I don't know where he at. And then she just starts screaming. So yeah, I thought it was a great introduction to these people. We'll get more into who these people are, right? But for now, they're a mystery. But it was a great introduction for them. We get to see them in full action and how they fight. And we hear this siren song that they let out, right? And people start jumping off the ships, which I thought was really, really cool. I was like, oh, okay, we're dipping into all types of little mythology here. So I thought it was an awesome scene to have. And also, I think that was the scene that let me know, like, oh, snap, we're really killing people now. Like, I feel like when the MCU first started, we were just kind of knocking out people and everybody was coming back. And, like, the villains would die, like the big villains. But, like, you wouldn't see, like, civilians just dying like that. And so to see everyone on the ship was killed, I was just like, dang, okay, we're really doing this right now.
So moving ahead, Shuri's back in the lab doing what she does best, but clearly hasn't properly mourned the loss of her brother. The queen takes her to the bush and shows her a ceremony to mark the ending of the mourning period. Shuri scoffs at this tradition. They're suddenly approached by Namor, the leader of the Blue Sea people we saw earlier. He's pissed. He is upset that Wakanda revealed themselves to the world, told them about vibranium, and now the surface world is getting closer and closer to discovering his people and their vibranium. So he gives them a choice. Deliver the scientist who created the vibranium detector to us so we can kill her, or face war. The wise council of Wakanda is divided about what to do. Some vote to deliver the scientist to Namor, while others consider just killing Namor. They decide to find the scientist at least, then decide what to do. So, the most striking part of this scene, the sequence, I think, is that Namor gets up close and personal to the Queen and Shuri without anybody noticing him. Wakanda is supposed to be the most advanced nation on Earth, and he snuck past their defenses. WTF?
Yup, he got up around them. I don't know how deep he was diving and, swimming and all that stuff, but he definitely got there and was able to get way too close to the queen and the princess. And not only him, but he brought people with him. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, it had all the Wakandans like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? What are we doing? What's happening here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So. Do we think, well, I think the answer to this question is yes, but yeah. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Does Namor have a right to be upset?
He has a right to be upset that they're on the brink of exposure, that his people are on the brink of exposure. Mm-hmm. Now, elevating it to, I'm going to kill all of y'all, is a bit much. Like, I mean, we're skipping steps here, Namor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, can they have some time? Like, can we just do a little rock, paper, scissors? I don't know. Something in between before we skip right to, I'm going to destroy Wakanda. You saw how easy it was for me to get here. I can do it.
He can. But in his defense, I don't know that he's ever had to do diplomatic relations before with other countries, right? Like, the only other time that we know of so far, I mean, he's been alive for 500 years, that we know of is like, the last time he came up on the shore, he burnt everything down. So this is what he knows, right?
This is what he do.
He probably could have been like, hey, I'm Namor. This is who I am. I'm a mutant. I got these people behind me. We can fuck shit up. But we don't want to do that. So why don't you just give us the scientists, or you need to ensure us that the rest of the world won't find out about us, or else we're coming for you. I feel like that would have been a way better bargain than just like, we need to kill that scientist.
I mean, it's slightly nicer. I don't know by how much.
Honestly, killing now that I'm thinking about it, killing the scientist is so short-sighted. Some other person could just come up and just keep
and do it.
Another thing. Like
there's always going to be another scientist.
Right. There's always going to be another scientist. So anyways, I agree. I think he has the right to be upset. I don't agree with the way he went about it. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the way people deliver things, M'Baku.
His entrance, boy. Woo. M'Baku enters the movie and does it with great style. And you've got to admit, he's got flair. He's got style.
Yeah. Yeah. Came in chewing on it. The only thing
the way the theater laughed.
He came in on that, like, what's up, Doc energy. Like, that's essentially what that was.
That carrot was crunchy as hell. I was like, bro, whoever did the sound on that carrot, give them a raise, because that was ridiculous. That was out of control.
He's so good. He's officially part of the council now, which he wasn't
amazing. Before. It's amazing to see him as part of the council, and I love that. I feel like that picks up off the energy from the first movie, where they turned to him for help, and he helped save them like a couple times in that movie. So now the Jabari aren't so isolated from the rest of the Wakandans. So bringing them into the fold, I thought that was amazing. Amazing payoff from the first movie.
Yeah, he helped save them from Killmonger. He even helped fight in Wakanda in Infinity War. He was keeping up speed with Captain America and T'Challa when they was going against like Thanos and Endgame. Like he was in front, moving them hips.
Moving them hips. I love it.
So yeah, like M'Baku, and even in this movie, we'll keep talking about it. He consistently shows up when the women and the people around him need him, and he's just such a great, like, give me an M'Baku show, please. Like,
we need it. We need it. And I think that's what I loved about this movie is that we got way more M'Baku. And then he pulls up on Okoye. And it's just like, you bald-headed demon. I was like, bro.
It was funny, but also like, where'd that come from? Why are you mad at her?
I feel like they've been beefing. They probably been beefing all their life.
Honestly. Yeah. The bald-headed piece of it was funny. I was like, but why the demon? It's funny too. For anyone who's like not from like Black culture in general, like to call somebody bald-headed that's already bald is literally like very funny. It's so funny. It was, the jokes in this movie are definitely like, I felt like I was hanging out with my friends, hanging out with family at the cookout, at the family reunion. And the jokes that I'm hearing, especially, and we'll get to Riri in a second, when Riri was like, y'all wait until y'all got to save me for there to be no Black Panther. I was like, yeah, like that's the energy that I want to see in characters, you know?
He's like, the fishman? I was like, bro, not the fishman. He was out of control.
Is great. Speaking of Okoye.
Yes.
General Okoye convinces the queen to allow Shuri to join the mission to meet with Ross in order to locate the scientist that we talked about. With Ross's help, they discover the scientist is actually Riri Williams, an MIT student. MIT, for those of you who don't know, is the equivalent of a Wakandan village school. The CIA finds them and a chase ensues. Namor sends his warriors to kill the scientist. After Okoye is temporarily neutralized, Shuri offers to come willingly to bargain for Riri's life. Ross and record scratch Valentina Allegra de Fontaine shows up to the scene. Ross finds Shuri's beads but hides them from Valentina. And as the audience learns that they used to be married, back in Wakanda, we see Queen Ramonda processing her daughter's kidnapping. General Okoye faces the wise council and the queen in her wrath and despair. Okoye is then stripped of her titles and her rank. What do we think about Riri's introduction?
Love it. Because off the rip, she's like, where's my money? And he was like, oh, my bad. And he was like, okay, I'm going to give you your 800. And she's like, yesterday's price is not today's price. It's a ban. And I loved it. And from that moment on, I was like, I can hang with Riri. I like this. I like this. So
Riri is a girl.
It was exciting to get that introduction to her. You know, we've all been hearing about the Ironheart show that's coming out. I have no background history with Riri Williams. I have no idea, you know, what she got going on except for some things that I've heard on the interwebs, but like nothing that I've read or seen or anything like that. So seeing her intro made me more excited about the show to come. What did you feel about her introduction to the MCU?
I like her energy, and I don't know, I feel like if they would have introduced her as a character in a different movie with the same sort of attitude, the same way, like just the same everything, I probably would have felt the way. But because she was introduced within a Black movie, it felt like, oh, okay, like I can accept this. It didn't feel like cliche or like kitschy or anything along those lines. I really enjoy it. Like I said, I like her energy. I like her as the stand-in for the younger Black audience. Yeah. As she's like learning about this new world and like all the background and everything like that. I love that.
For sure.
Yeah. So she has an Iron Man suit that she made herself.
She got an Iron Man suit. I love that line because I was like, that's something I would have said. If I had pulled up in the garage and somebody came down and I'd be like, oh shit, they got an Iron Man suit. I love that. But yeah, she's recreated her own Iron Man suit.
She did. I mean, the only thing that was missing was that person should have ran. Because if I see somebody with an Iron Man suit, I'm running.
Right.
I don't got the firepower to fight that. I'm not. There's no way.
Yeah. And like all of this is to really show us like what intellectual level she's on, right? She's on the level of a Tony Stark. So it's to let us know that she is this brilliant mind and nothing to mess with.
Yeah.
She
Like
didn't have no
she created the vibranium detector for homework as a homework
homework.
because
Because the
so
professor said she couldn't do it. She
yeah.
said, watch
Yeah.
me. That's crazy. You
Yeah.
just building an Iron Man suit in your garage out of parts?
Yep.
Like, that's wild.
Just cause, right? Then a chase ensues where we get Okoye, Shuri, and Riri splitting up temporarily. They wind up, meeting back up kind of sort of on this bridge in Boston. And then they're immediately ambushed, kind of attacked by some of we don't know their names yet, but the Talokan, some of Namor's people who come to kill Riri. And what's interesting too is that like, they're not even like they could easily just kill all of them if they wanted. Like not easily, obviously, because they didn't do it. But it seems like they're very focused on just killing Riri, which I thought was like interesting because we've seen in the past, like people just become collateral damage. Like if I'm after one person, then I'm just going to kill everybody there just to make sure that the person I'm trying to kill actually gets killed. But they didn't do that. It was like, listen, this doesn't have to be about you. I just want to kill that chick and I'm on my way. Obviously, Shuri and Okoye are not going to let that happen. So Okoye gets busy. Oh my goodness. I feel like this is definitely the movie where Okoye got the most busy. And I mean, she held her own in Infinity War and obviously in Black Panther, but it was amazing watching her fight.
Seeing that one-on-one fight, and she's just so good. And I thought it was a great way to show the audience, like, hey, this is what these blue people really are about. Because in all honesty, they should have been dead, and they came back to life. And that's what makes you really go, wait a minute, there's something more to these people here. Like, what's going on? It's like, okay, it's one thing to be strong, but y'all not dying from these strikes. And that was the weird thing. So, that's leaving that mystery there. But when she was getting it on with that dude, it was good. It was good.
It was very, very, very good. So as we mentioned, Okoye kind of gets thrown off the bridge into the water. And then while she's like trying to get herself together, Shuri, in an attempt to save Riri's life, she's like, no, don't kill her. Just take us back to Namor. I want to talk to him, yada, yada, yada. So they take her. So then when Okoye gets back to Wakanda and she's just like, oh, I lost Shuri, the queen is like beyond pissed. And she decides to dismiss Okoye. And I think it was one of the more shocking. I was not expecting that in this movie at all. What did you think about that?
That she lost.
That she dismissed Okoye.
That she dismissed the.
That the queen dismissed Okoye. Yeah.
I struggled kind of with this scene a little bit because part of me was like, okay, logically I understand. This person failed their mission. They lost your daughter. You've already lost your son. You didn't even want your daughter to go on this mission, but this person assured you it's going to be fine. They failed, so I get it, right? I get demoting them. I get pulling them out. But the way she delivered her speech, I was just like, oh man, people are going to look at her like she's the emotional woman in the room. And that was part of the thing. And not that she doesn't have the right to be, but obviously we know what kind of world we live in, right? So it almost made me feel like, dang, if Queen Ramonda was in a boardroom right now and they're doing like a business deal or something like that, and one of her employees fails and she's like, I've already invested all my money and I've lost everything, and you come here and you failed, and she's crying and stuff, and like, it's like, you're fired. I feel like, because M'Baku and everybody else was like, are we being a little too hasty, Queen? Like, are we doing too much right now? And so I felt conflicted about it, but all in all, I agreed with her. I think Okoye needs to be demoted.
As you were talking just now, like, I get what you're saying, but I don't. If Queen Ramonda was King T'Chaka, and he lost Queen Ramonda and T'Challa, and now Shuri is missing, I think T'Chaka would have had a similar reaction about his family gone missing. I need to dismiss the person who was in charge of this.
I don't know. I think it was just the way she delivered it. I think is what it was.
Okay.
I'm not saying the outcome wouldn't have been the same. It was something about the way she delivered it. But I mean, listen, M'Baku made good points. She was like, well, she turned her own spear on her husband, and right. But it was such an emotional scene because you know that this is Okoye's life. This is what she does. This is all she's ever been, all she ever wants to be. And to lose her rank, to have failed her queen, to have failed her later. I don't remember if she did it in this scene, but later on she calls the queen mother.
Yeah, queen mother.
To fail her mother, right? Mm-hmm. It's the biggest disappointment it's one of the biggest disappointments you could have. To feel like you failed your parent, you failed your mom is one of the biggest disappointments you could ever have. And so to do it on that level, I felt for her, man. That was rough. That was rough.
It is rough. Especially, as you said, like, I totally forgot that M'Baku was like, she was ready to kill her husband for the country. Are we really sure we want to dismiss her? And that's after he called her a bald-headed demon, right? Like,
and we fight, but we love each other.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Like, it's such a great showing of just like, I can call her that, but you can't.
You can't do that.
So yeah. And then we learned that Okoye's man, the actor, I forget his name. Crap. Who played her husband in the first
Daniel Kaluuya?
Him, yeah. That his character is in jail right now for supporting Killmonger, which I thought that was a good way for them to like wrap up what happened to all the people that supported Killmonger, right? They're all in jail. So I just wanted to call that out too really quickly.
Because she was like, after you turned against me, I forgave you, and all that kind of stuff. I was like, she was doing her job.
And then when T'Challa came back, she flipped back to T'Challa. So she
she did. The rest of the people did not, but she did.
Exactly.
One last thing I wanted to throw in here too was, did we need Ross and Valentina in this movie?
I was trying to say
I know we're not at the end. Oh, you put it at the end? All right, we'll come back to it.
It's fine, because there's more to that, right?
Okay, yeah. We'll come back to it. We'll
talk about that whole plot at the end. The answer is no.
But were you shocked that they were married? Where did that come from?
So, okay, this is something I heard through people. In the comic books, Valentina does have like this like weird kind of romantic on and again, off again. I don't know exactly what it is, but some sort of romantic relationship with Nick Fury in the comics. And we weren't about to let that happen. Like, come on, the audience would have been like, no, absolutely not. Samuel Jackson, absolutely not. So I guess this was their way of like still bringing in that romantic tension within the like U.S. government apparatus, and Valentina being kind of like, having to deal with that or whatever. They just made it with Ross. It just feels like Ross he's a sub in the bedroom, and I don't know where this is coming from, but and there's nothing wrong with that. I am not kink shaming at all. I just like, there's something I don't understand how they got together, I guess is what I'm saying. Because
how did this happen?
She feels like she would be such the she would just suck all the living life out of him. It's like how I don't understand. I understand why they broke up. I don't understand how they got together to begin with.
I just felt like it was a throwaway kind of thing. I was just like, okay, they're married. What does this do for the plot? Well, how does this help? What does this bring? I don't know, but sure. But I guess, it is what it is.
They have to tie the movie into the broader MCU, right? That's what that was. That's all that was.
Sure.
And we'll talk. I mean, we might as well just talk about it now. Forget it. They're setting her up to be like a stone cold villain, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
For sure. Oh yeah, okay, so that makes it because it's like Ross is the good guy, so they got divorced. She's the bad guy.
Or just how she treats him in the rest of the movie too. Just clearly he's on the good side, and she's like, "Screw that! The U.S. needs vibranium."
Alrighty, guys. So Shuri gets to know Namor. She arrives in the cave. She wakes up. Her and Riri both wake up in the cave.
Riri is stressed.
Riri is stressed and upset, and they present Shuri with some clothes. She has a one-on-one with Namor. And through that one-on-one, we learn that Namor has been alive since the 16th century and was born during the time of when the Spanish conquistadors arrived in Mesoamerica, bringing smallpox. So the god of rain and abundance gave a vision to a shaman of their tribe, which led him to find a plant growing from vibranium-rich soil, similar to the heart-shaped herb. And so, he makes a concoction out of it, and everyone takes the plant, including Namor's mom, while she's pregnant with him. They wake up blue and unable to breathe the air, so they run to the sea and begin a new life there. Namor was born with wings on his feet and pointy ears, a mutant, right? So he looks different from everybody else because he was in the belly, something happened, his little X gene got activated, and now so we've got a mutant on our hands. And from there, when he returns to the surface later in his life to bury his mother, also he ages slowly. So if you're wondering why he looks so young right now, he ages slowly, right? So his aging is slowed down. He's got the wings, pointy ears, slow aging, and extraordinary strength. So when he returns to the surface to bury his mom in her home village, he witnesses the atrocities of the Spanish conquest and burns the village down. Burn it down to the ground. He is called a child without love, Namor. And the name, this is the name that his enemies gave him, and he takes it on and is basically like, I don't have no love for the surface world, so I'm going to take it on with pride. After telling his origin story, Namor takes Shuri to see Talokan for herself. He tells Shuri he wants to fight the surface world and offers for them to burn the world together, even giving her his mother's bracelet, which I was like, all right, we'll get to that. Giving her his mother's bracelet, which is made from their vibranium plant, as an act of friendship, right? An alliance, an olive branch, basically. And he asked Shuri if Wakanda is an ally or an enemy. This man loves some ultimatums, boy. He
don't know how to talk to people because he's always talking to fish. That's the problem.
Are you an ally or an enemy? Now, real quick, just on the side, like him giving her his mom's bracelet was wild to me.
I thought he was proposing. Like there was strong romantic vibes there.
There was strong chemistry vibes.
I was here for it too.
I loved it.
I
wanted it so badly. I was like, yes, make it messy.
I want Shuri to have his baby, his little winged feet Black Panther baby.
Not the winged feet. But I was really, really hoping for it. When I saw this, I had strong. Listen, y'all may not have watched it, but T and I did. The Rings of Power, and I had very strong Sauron vibes when he looks to Galadriel. Huh?
Say more. Like, what do you mean?
So, yeah. So like when he looks to Galadriel and he's like, "Listen, you could be my queen, and we could do this thing together." And I was just like, "This sounds very familiar, Namor. This sounds very familiar." But he was just like, "We could burn this world together." I said, "Okay, Bonnie and Clyde, I hear you. I ain't gonna lie. It sounded like a good proposal to me."
Listen, I wasn't mad at it. I would have been like, "So we gonna make a baby now or after we're done conquesting the world?"
You got to conquest first.
Namor could get it. Namor Kakula. I would call him Kakula.
The feather serpent god.
The serpent god. Okay.
The other thing that we noticed is when they first come back home to Wakanda, we noticed that to get in there, you gotta play a nice little beat on a little water drum thingy, right?
for
and to
the
get
gate to open.
for the gate to open, which I guess is a new thing after, you know, Thanos came and did his thing. You know, you got to come and rebuild. After Infinity War then landed in Wakanda. I'm still mad about that. After Infinity War then landed in Wakanda and broke their barrier and did all that stuff, I guess they had to rethink it. So, you know, you got to do a nice little beat on there. And then to get into Telecon, you do your little clamshell opening thing.
Or shark teeth.
Or shark teeth, whatever it was supposed to be to get in. So I got to ask you, which one, if you got to secure your house, which one are you using to get in and out?
Oh, I mean, I'm using the drum beat. Full stop. There's no way I'm not using the drum beat. First of all, anybody could do this.
Right.
Everybody can't do the grinding beat.
I think more people than you think.
Yes, but not everybody.
Not everybody. Definitely people who don't want getting in there, for sure.
Exactly. It's like, okay, like I know anybody who grew up in public school system or any school system, but then when the grinding came out, I know they could do it. And I'm okay with them coming in. Right. I'm okay with them coming in. If you can't do the grinding beat, you can't sit with me. So don't.
Got it. Do you think we spent enough time in Telecon?
No.
Not at all.
We needed another 10 minutes at least. Like I would have loved to see her interact and have a conversation with someone besides Namor, at least at the minimum.
Yeah. I honestly, that's a good point actually. Like talking to the people, because like you just kind of see like the kids like floating in her face and it's like, hey, but it's like, you know, it would have been nice for her to maybe get different perspectives, talk to some people. If we could have seen more of their way of life, more of their structures and everything and how they look. We needed more time. It was too short of a glimpse.
And I got questions. Like, y'all don't like the surface world, but y'all just got like astronaut suits ready for surface world people to come see your place. What's that about?
I wonder if they took it in to examine it more than anything. Like, all right, y'all are coming down here in these suits. This at some point it was foreign to them. So it's like, okay, let's take this back with us and see like what this is about.
Oh, I didn't get the impression that they took the suit, like that was the same suit from the CIA mission.
No, I'm not even saying that. It could have been just, I don't know. It could have been any suit. There's deep divers.
I was under the impression they made it.
I was not under the impression of that at all.
I was under the impression they made it because they have the technology to do it. And then when he made a joke about it, he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. We have suits," which made me just think that they like created them. I don't know. Maybe I looked too deeply into it, but I was under the impression that they have the technology to create the suits. We know that.
They have the technology to do it, but it wouldn't make sense to me why they would.
Which is why I was confused.
Yeah, I think they just kind of collector item, you know, Ariel under the sea type of thing. What's this thingamabob?
That's funny. But I guess separately, I wouldn't automatically assume that the surface world would have created a suit to go that far down.
Oh, they got suits for that.
Not as far down as I would assume Telecon is.
These deep divers is always out here. They just probably haven't reached it, but they don't know exactly where it's at. But they're out here in these oceans all the time looking for stuff.
They are, but like, for example, I don't think they have like a one-person suit that can go as far down as where the Titanic is right now. You have to go into like in a small pod. You can't go into a suit by itself.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, we're getting way into the weeds. This is my like.
Also, we don't have Tony Stark, so nobody got Iron Man suit. So, I mean, it's a different world than where you come from. Sorry.
We needed to spend more time in Telecon, definitely.
Yes. Thoughts about Namor's backstory?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I love that they're bringing like another. I don't think in the comic books he's Mesoamerican or like from Mesoamerica in any way, shape, or form. I love that they gave that to him. I love that they made it like another ethnic minority group having a secret nation. I love that. And I love that it's like, you know, it's us against the majority. Like, what do you want to do here?
Right.
Like,
We're not so different.
We're not so different. Yes, exactly. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And I enjoyed getting his backstory. I love what they did with his name. I didn't know they were gonna take it there. I thought that was clever. I thought that was great. It was
very clever.
And it gave us a better understanding of his motivations and why he's going so hard for Talokan. And you know, we see why his people feel the way that they do about him and why they follow him so hard. So I absolutely loved getting his backstory and hearing everything about him for sure.
It was great.
Yes. Alrighty. So the queen turns to Nakia for help because she's like, okay, Okoye done failed me. Nakia don't fail me now. And we found out that our little spy has been hiding out in Haiti as the headmistress of a school. With very little trouble, she locates Shuri and rescues her. It was not even barely a blink.
Barely an inconvenience.
She was out here. And as the rescue takes place, Ramonda meets with Namor, who threatens to kill her if Wakanda comes to Talokan. After Shuri and Riri's rescue, which results in the death of two Talakonians? I don't know. Namor attacks Wakanda.
It's a made-up world, so I don't feel bad about it. It's fine.
Sure. Namor attacks Wakanda with a select group of warriors. Namor intentionally kills Queen Ramonda and promises to return in a week with his full army if Wakanda doesn't agree to ally with Talokan. At her mother's funeral, M'Baku advises Shuri to mourn her mother in the traditional way. He informs her that the elders want to evacuate everyone to the mountains to be under the protection of the Jabari. Shuri supports this plan and heads back to the lab because, you know, that's what she do. Now, a couple of things. So when the Talakonanans arrive and they attack Wakanda, and he says, I will come back in a week with my full army. I was like, excuse me? That wasn't it? You got more?
Many more.
Because I don't think Wakanda's not built for that.
Literally.
Wakanda's not built for that. They have the Dora Milaje, and that's about that. I mean, they've got warriors in different tribes and everything, but I think because they've been secluded for so long,
and they're so reliant on technology,
they've never felt the need to build up such a big, structured army. And the Talakans, they are naturally all basically like God super leveled. So they just like, oh, we just suiting up, man. We just gonna head out and fight basically at the end of the day. And so I was just like, dang, that's crazy. And this leads to the death of Queen Ramonda. And I have to say the entire theater was shocked, including myself. Because
you were all like, no, they didn't. No, they did not.
I walked into this movie, and after Chadwick's funeral, after T'Challa's funeral, I was like, they can't kill anybody else major in this movie. It's not going to happen. They can't do this to us. Because after how emotional those opening scenes were, I was like, they're not going to do it. So when the queen goes down, I was like, she's going to come back. It's going to be fine. And she didn't come back. And I was like, wait, come back. And she didn't come back. I was like, come back, please. And I was distraught. I didn't think they were going to do it. I didn't think they were going to do it. Were you shocked?
Yes, I was very shocked. When you were like, no, they're not. I was like, yes, they are. I was like, they're doing it. It was very, very shocking for a couple. It was shocking, but then it was like, oh, it makes sense why Queen Ramonda got so much airtime in the beginning of the movie and like leading up to it. Not that she didn't deserve it, but writing it that way, I guess. And movies got a movie, and so if you want the hero of the story to fully realize their potential, you have to kill off and get rid of their mentor. Like that's just how stories work. So after, like, once it happened, I was like, why would they do this? And then like all of the logical things started happening. I was like, oh, okay, this is why they did it. I feel a little bit better about it. But it does make me sad that we're not going to see Angela, on screen with Ramonda anymore. Like that's the saddest part of it to me.
And I'm glad you bring that up, because that thought crossed my mind too, right? I was like, man, movie's got a movie. So yeah, of course they're going to kill her off so she can be on her own and have all this rage, right? Mm-hmm. But I felt like the attack on Wakanda itself was enough to validate Shuri's rage. I didn't feel like Ramonda had to die for that to happen. And it bothered me so much. It wasn't quite a fridging of a female character,
right, not necessarily.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't put it in that category, but at the same time, I was just like, this doesn't feel necessary. And it made me wonder, and I should have done research on this, but it also made me wonder if maybe Angela Bassett herself just didn't want to come back and keep playing this role.
Maybe. That's also a possibility. I think what made her death ridiculous to me, and this is going to sound really messed up, her dying to save Riri didn't make sense to me.
I think the reason why it had to be Riri, because
I know why they did it.
Okay. You just didn't like it.
Don't like it.
So it makes sense. We just don't like it.
Sense. I would have much preferred if she died trying to save like Okoye or someone, but it's like we just met this girl Riri, and for us to not even be attached to this person, and you to risk your life to save them. Yes, this is the hero bit. Like, this is what you do. Everyone's your child. Yada, 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 yada. It would have meant a lot more if she died saving someone that we already had an emotional attachment to.
Yeah. I get it. Also, during the funeral, we see M'Baku taking the role as advisor. Mm-hmm. And he says to her, I promised your brother that I would protect you and I would advise you. And I loved it because it gave more dimension to his character. He's not just the wisecracking, big jockey kind of dude. Like, he's got he's got some wisdom to him, and he's got some heart. And I think it was an important way to remind us that this man is a leader in his own right. He's been leading the Jabari as they've been isolated this whole time. So don't get it twisted. Like, he knows how to lead a people. He knows how to clearly unite a people. So, and his people seem to love him. So it was nice to put him now in this position of, I'm here to advise you. I'm here to help you. And I love seeing him in that light. And I was like, yes, more M'Baku. Give it to me. Give me
more. Give me a show where M'Baku is just like at the UN, just like commenting on everything that's going on.
Yes. And Shuri's grief, man. And I think M'Baku said it best, where he was just like, the world has taken so much from you. No one can consider you a child anymore. Like, this is who you are. And Namor made me so mad when he was like, you are queen now. And I was just like,
he killed her.
Bro. I was like, you just killed her mom. And like, I was like, you're messed up. I was like, damn, you're messed. You can still get it, but you're messed up. Jesus Christ. It was a lot. And so just watching, Shuri's just heartbroken. And she just numb. Doesn't know what to do with herself. It was sad. It was really, really sad to watch.
We're going to get to this at the end, but I kind of want to say it now because it's on my brain. Namor purposely attacked Ramonda. Yeah. Killed her on purpose.
He killed her.
She wasn't collateral damage in like the attack, which would have been one thing. If like the attack happened, it was at random, who was around, he didn't know. Like, he flew up there, saw her, threw the bombs at her, and then stood around and waited to make sure that she was dead.
My man he's a man of his word. He said, you come to Talokan, I'm going to kill you and attack Wakanda. And he delivered. And that is the scariest part, is that he did it.
Which is why I have an issue with how the movie ended, but let's keep going.
Okay. All right. So Shuri uses her bracelet given to her by Namor to recreate the heart-shaped herb that gives the Black Panther powers. Now, keep this in mind, y'all. It sounds like a nice little mix happening here because we've got our little water plant and we've got our heart-shaped herb plant. So I don't know what this means going forward, but I think we're going to find out. And in trying to develop a plan to take down Namor, she and Riri deduced that Namor breathes through his skin. So to weaken him, they have to dry him out. He's getting his powers from the water. It makes him stronger. We dry him out. We can weaken him. Shuri succeeds with recreating the herb, takes it, and in the ancestral plane, she sees, wait for it, y'all, Killmonger. Killmonger is waiting for her, knee up, posed up. Hey, cuz. Hey, cuz. And after a short chat with her cousin and lying to Nakia about her experience in the ancestral plane, Shuri, also got to mention that when Shuri wakes up in the ancestral plane, she's underwater and then comes out. But yeah, she reveals her. So after all of that, she figures out, yay, it worked. We've got Black Panther powers. She reveals herself to the Wakandans as the Black Panther. Right? She rises and she chats with M'Baku alone and tells him she wants revenge for the death of her mother. M'Baku advises against killing Namor because it could spark eternal war between Wakanda and Talokan. He is not into the idea anymore, which is a heel turn because in the beginning he was like, let's kill the fish man. He's got to die. And now he's like, no, let's not do this. We got to think about our people.
After he got punched in the chest.
That was but Shuri's not trying to hear that at all. She's not here for it. She commands him to support the military movement against Talokan. Separately, Ross is arrested by Fontaine for conspiring with Wakanda to circumvent U.S. actions against them. You throwing in big words in this document, girl.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I did this earlier today, and I was like, my PhD hat was on. I apologize. Sorry.
But I'm going to be Ron Burgundy, and I'm going to read what's on the document.
You know what these words mean. Stop it.
Yes. But yeah, so, all right. So a lot happens here, right? Shuri's got her powers. She's putting this plan together. And Shuri and Okoye, they've been going back and forth about technology, tradition, making a new way. And they finally come together in a way combining the tradition and the new, right? Okoye had to give up her spear when she was stripped of her rings. And she's like, I made you a spear, but I also want you to wear this Midnight Angel suit. So put it on. And she's like, Okoye's like, I don't like this. She's like, put on the damn suit. And she's like, all right, I guess. Right? So they finally combine forces and, bring in the tradition and the new, which has felt like a theme throughout the movie altogether because Shuri didn't even really believe in the ancestral plane. She didn't believe in the ceremony that her mom was trying to show her by burning the funeral robes and everything. So I'm hoping it's a door opening into Shuri stepping into more of her spirituality, more into these traditions and bringing everything together. And then, so let's talk about M'Baku and Shuri's conversation. What were your takeaways from that conversation?
A couple of things. That M'Baku, as you mentioned, M'Baku's like, listen, do we want to do this because it could spark eternal war? But at the end of the day, when Shuri is like, I said what I said, he's like, you are the queen. You are the queen. You're a Black Panther. I'm going to listen to you. He supports her, even though he doesn't want to. And I thought that was very interesting. That all that we've seen of M'Baku, he's been kind of a free spirit or just like separate from everyone else. But you know, like one of the first lines he says, you know, that we hear him say in this entire franchise is he comes at Shuri for being a child who scoffs at tradition. He doesn't scoff at tradition. He's going to say his piece, but at the end of the day, he's going to follow tradition and do what he's supposed to do, which is follow his queen and follow the Black Panther. So I thought that was really interesting to show this, like, this other more, what's the word I'm looking for? He does his own thing, but he knows when to play with the team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it shows that he's taking his role as protector seriously. Because he's like, well, if I abandon her now, I can't help her.
True.
You know, and so he's got to be there. And so I'm just loving how they're fleshing out his character more and more as we go along. I'm here for it. Does Wakanda need to move from a monarchy to a democracy?
This is my question. And it really had me thinking about, like, it's so odd. Like, as I was processing the movie afterwards, I was like, not a lot of this was like voted on per se. It was just your monarch makes a decision and you go with it. And how much of this could have gone differently if it wasn't one person making a decision, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got the wise council, but
they don't make the decision, right? Like, they just give advice and you can do what you want with it.
This is true. And so many things could have been avoided. It's like, but yeah, we are in modern times, right? Y'all got all this technology and y'all still...
The monarchy is a little outdated, in my opinion.
I'm with you. Honestly, yeah, I'm with you on that one. That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So a third act has got a third act. So here we are off to the big battle. Shuri and Riri are able to capture Namor as the Wakandans fight the Talokans. The Wakandans try to head back to Wakanda, but the ship has been damaged. So now we're stuck in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by fish people who are hard to kill. Great, amazing, awesome. The Talokans release bombs and continue the attack. Meanwhile, off on a desert beach, Namor and Shuri fight as the Wakandans are on the brink of defeat. Namor stabs her with a pure vibranium spear, but she uses her vengeance as fuel and successfully barbecues him. Wakanda forever! Explosion. Yeah, so she basically blows up her ship and it barbecues him. She tells him to yield to end the fight and save his people. He accepts these terms and they return to the ship together, where there's like 10 Wakandans left. And Namor tells his people to go home, pack it up, everybody, we're done. Everyone's confused, but it's like, I see you later. It's been nice fighting. Listen, we've seen a lot of plans. A lot
of dumb plans too.
We've watched the MCU, we've watched all these fantasy movies, we've seen all the battles. We've seen a lot of plans. Was this a smart plan? Were there any options?
It was a dumb plan. And I'll tell you why. Because, and I don't have to tell you, I mean, obviously, they're on a boat surrounded by fish people who are like gods, who are hard to kill even when they're not in the water, but you're going to bring the fight to them on water? Like, come on. That's one. Wow. Two, you already had a plan of like taking him to the desert. Why not just fight them in the desert on that beach? Why not just do it there? Where like at least you have land behind you as like a retreat area to give you some sort of leverage, and you're not surrounded by fish people. I should stop calling them that. Whatever. They're not real, so it's fine. Fish people. So I don't know, like the plan just like did not seem like it was fully thought through, and that's coming, and I think that that's a very profound thing, because Shuri is supposed to be the smartest person in the MCU right now. She's the smartest person on Earth that we know of at this moment. And she came up with this plan, which is either means that this was the only option, which makes no sense to me, or her vengeance and her rage was clouding her judgment to the point where she came up with this stupid plan.
I think that's what they want us to lean into. Like the vengeance was so strong that that this is the plan that they come up with. And even even before we go a little bit further than that, running back to her encounter with Killmonger.
Oh yeah, we didn't really talk about
that. We didn't even talk about that. So they have this conversation, and he's like, "I know you wanted to see me," and she's playing this. "Oh, I didn't want to see you. It's not you." But he has this conversation where it's like, your brother was too proud to do what he needed to do.
Too noble.
Right. Too noble to, right. You're right. Too noble to do what he needed to do. Your dad was a hypocrite who was out here killing his own brother.
Facts.
Right. I'm the one who was ready and willing to do what needed to be done. Now, are you ready and willing to do what needs to be done? And I think in making the plan and in doing everything, that's gotta be ringing in her head. I need to do what needs to be done to avenge my brother, to save my people, and, you know, lead us forward. And so, yeah, the plan was messed up. It was a bad plan. All in all, it was a bad plan.
Bad plan. And so on top of that, he yields, right? And she's like, but he doesn't just yield because he's about to die. She actually gives him a good freaking deal. She's like, we will protect the waters so that the rest of the world won't find y'all.
Yeah.
Are we good? And he's like, actually, that's dope. Peace out. See you later. And it's like, why couldn't we have just gotten there before he killed your mother?
We could have done this in the beginning. When he first showed up, we could have been like, we will protect your secrets. It'll be fine. And
right.
We could have been like, all right, cool. Let's work it out.
She won't make any more. We'll make sure that, you know, we can't stop we could try. We'll try to stop everybody from making vibranium detectors. We'll make sure that they don't like come for y'all anymore. You got to tell us where you at so we can make sure they stay away from y'all. But other than that, we'll make sure that y'all stay cool. Like,
yeah.
Why couldn't that have been at least? I don't think he would have taken it, honestly, at that point in time. He would have been like, no, I want to kill the scientist because rage. But I feel like Queen Ramonda and Shuri could have at least been like, hey, like, can we talk about this a little bit more? No.
It could have been a good deal. Because, like, when they show up for Riri, she's like, are y'all recruiting me? And that could have, yes, we're recruiting you. You're coming to Wakanda. Here's where you're going to study abroad. Don't do nothing for nobody else. Whatever you do stays in Wakanda and is for Wakanda. Period. You know, and Namor just... as we see, the vengeance is running him too. So I think he'd been waiting. He wanted a reason. He wanted a reason to get up on the surface of the world and do some stuff, I think.
That's exactly what that was. And we know that for a fact based off of what he says later.
Right. And then she's like, yield so you can save your people. But when we get to our Wakandan cruise ship, his people are doing just fine. Like, they're winning, as a matter of fact. And the Wakandans are like trapped on the edge of the boat.
Ready to die.
And so I was just like, Namor, if you had died, I mean, your people would have been okay. Let's be honest here. But I'm just saying. So that part to me in the movie was weird. And then once again, I was just like, Wakanda, where's your army? Where are our warriors? Where's our people? Because that was rough.
As Lawrence said, he said they can't swim. Which is messed up because of the stereotype, but also very funny.
Very funny. Does Shuri make the right choice?
Yeah, she made the right choice. She just should have made it earlier in the movie. Based off of like the options she had, like, I don't know.
I know she don't know what's going on the boat. You're right. It would have sparked the eternal war. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. But it's like, dang, once again, here we are with another Black Panther, another Black person forgiving someone for killing their parent.
T'Challa did it with Zemo, another
Zemo.
villain I like.
Let Zemo go. We're letting Namor go. We let Bucky chill. So it's just like, all right, I guess. You know. Sometimes I'm just like, maybe you gotta kill a few folks. Maybe you do.
I agree.
But
I'm also not a superhero, so
there's that. With great power comes responsibilities.
I guess.
That's a lot. All right. So as we wrap up the movie, we see more herbs being planted so the Black Panther can continue to protect Wakanda. Riri returns to school, but has to stop
being
doing
a
homework for hire. Right. Stop being a homework for hire. And she has to leave her suit behind. M'Baku challenges to become king. Does he? We don't know. Next movie. I think it's safe to assume he does, though. Mm-hmm. In Talokan, Namora is disappointed that Namor. Also, Namor, are y'all related? What is this?
I have no idea. I wish they would have fleshed her out too. I have no idea what she is. Who she is to him. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, once again, we needed more time with these folks. But Namora is disappointed that Namor didn't continue to war with Wakanda. She's always wanted to fight by his side. And he explains that because Wakanda has no allies and now Shuri has empathy for the Talokan, when the surface world inevitably comes for Wakanda's vibranium, they will have no choice but to call on Talokan for help, which will give them the way they've, always wanted. Okoye rescues Ross from his imprisonment. And finally, Shuri shows up in Haiti for a much-needed break from her royal and Black Panther duties, and to finally mourn her brother and mother in the traditional way. We end with a final reminiscing sequence of Shuri's memories with T'Challa. So how do we feel all in all about Riri and her appearance here?
I think it was fine to introduce her in this movie before us getting her her separate Disney Plus show. I'm not attached to her as much as I probably would like after this movie, but I think it's fine. Again, I don't really care for them using her as a device that brings on Queen Ramonda's death. I don't really care for that.
Yeah, I think it was a great introduction. Now we've laid the groundwork, so when we get to the show, we can just hit the ground running with everything that she's got going on. I enjoyed her. I thought she was funny. I thought she was fun. Clearly, she's super smart. I'm interested to see what else is going on in that big brain of hers and what they're actually going to do with her and what role they're going to play. Placing her in Wakanda Forever is smart choice. This is the demographic you want her to hit with, young Black folks. You want us rooting for her. You want us invested in her. So what better place to introduce her than here? How do we feel about M'Baku being king, potentially being king now? What does that mean for the future lineage of the Black Panther?
I like M'Baku. Obviously, I think he'd make a fine king. I'm just curious as to if how the lineage would just work now in general. I don't have any theories or anything like that. It's just an open question that I have in general about it's just especially based off of what we learn in the after credit scene. How does that all mesh now is my question.
I say y'all got more heart-shaped herb. Give it to all of the strong warriors that y'all got.
Have a Black Panther army?
Yes. Because clearly the Talakans, you got to think big, bitch. You got to think big. Y'all out here depending on one person. They got a whole army of gods. Y'all got to pull it together here. So I vote that. Number one, I vote that. But I'm not sure. I feel like they're gonna go in a direction where they're almost going to separate the monarchy from who's Black Panther. And it does I feel like it doesn't necessarily have to be the king or queen that has to be the Black Panther. So I am curious to see too how they're going to navigate that. But I'm happy for my man. He's been wanting this seat forever, so he finally got his chance. And I think it comes at a better time. I think he's wiser. He's had more experience now being in the wise council with everybody else and the elders, and he's been learning and growing, and I love that for him. I think he's going to be an amazing leader. And when he gets off the ship, everybody's smiling. So it seems like everybody is in support of this. I don't think anybody challenged him, and I think, or anybody who did, I don't think anybody could beat him.
What makes me excited about that too is that means I am going to get my M'Baku at the UN scene.
I hope so.
Because he's leader now, so he's going to go to the UN and be like, "You want what? No, next."
No. I hope so. And now that we've got Namor, I'm happy that the MCU didn't do what the MCU does and kill off the great villains. And so we still got Namor around, and he's clearly going to play a role going further in the MCU. What do you think that might be?
So I'm here. If they want to do a whole movie on Namor, I would totally watch it. Give me more Namor as much as you can. I just want him on my screen, all thick and just he's amazing. So I heard other people talking about this, and in the comic, spoiler, he does have a little bit of a romantic thing with a character that still has yet to be introduced in the MCU. I think he breaks up a marriage, I think, which is interesting. So I'm excited for that. So the next time I expect to see him is probably in that movie when it comes out at some point.
That is a strong possibility, and we shall see. So yeah, I mean, I think he has a strong future in the MCU. I'm curious to see, will Wakanda and Talokan actually unite, become allies? What's going to happen here? And I mean, we know this is all coming in a multiverse saga, right? So we need some souped up people and armies and stuff out there who's going to fight. So having them on their side is actually great. We shall see. And now we're returning back. We're going to circle back around. Did we need Ross and Devontae?
No, we didn't. For this movie, we did not need it. But in order to connect it to the broader MCU franchise, yes, we needed it. They used it as an opportunity to set Vontae up as more of a villain, as we mentioned earlier. It gave us a little bit more background for Ross and Vontae. Now that Ross is on the run, I don't know who he'd be running with now, but he's running with somebody.
He running back to Wakanda.
Maybe he's just chilling with them.
He has to.
He has to. But I feel like at some point too, he's probably gonna come in handy. You know who I was thinking about at the end of this? I was thinking about Sharon.
Oh.
Who we last saw at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I think she started working for the CIA again, right? At the end of that?
Girl, I do not remember. That was so long ago.
It was a very long time ago. I feel like Ross is going to come into play with trying to help the good guys get rid of the bad guys who are currently in the US CIA system right now. So that's where I think that's going with Ross. So they had to set that up here in order to have that going there. But do we need it for this? No, the colonizer was not necessary in this movie at all.
I would say it wasn't a bad idea to have Ross involved because he serves as connective tissue between the two movies and stuff. So I'm not mad at him being in there and helping out. And that lets us know that oh yeah, they got an inside man, in the U.S. government. It reminds us of that and that he's feeding information to them. So I'm fine with that. But Devontae, I was I could have done without. You could have plucked her out of the story and the story would have functioned just the exact same way.
Yep.
But we're setting up for the Thunderbolts. We're doing all these things. So, they're doing what comic book things do. So it's fine. I guess. I
totally fine.
If anything, the greatest sin was killing Queen Ramonda in my eyes. But whatever. And now we have Shuri as Black Panther. She's gone through this arc. I mean, granted, honestly, an arc that we've seen before. We've seen T'Challa go through the same thing.
Yeah.
I got vengeance on my mind. Oh, I can't let vengeance drive me. Let's strike a deal. Whatever. Kind of thing. But how did you feel about her overall arc?
I feel fine about her arc. I'm a little peeved at the timing of her coming to the "you've all let vengeance consume you, I'm done letting it consume me" piece of it. And I'm just annoyed that she came to the conclusion so late, because of so many lives could have been saved if she would have just came to it a little bit sooner. Obviously, you can't rush people in their personal development and all that jazz. I think it's fine. I do think, though, I'll say this. I do like that Shuri was the most modern member of her family. Mm-hmm. And to watch her go through this arc felt more true to, let's say, someone closer to our age who's a young Black woman, how they would experience it. So I did appreciate seeing her go through this arc, even though it's an arc we've seen a million times before. So overall, I'm fine with it. I do have some questions about like her willingness to be the Black Panther in the future. I think that's still up in the air. Like,
does she want to carry the mantle?
Does she want to carry the mantle? I feel like there's a piece of that that's still up in the air. It's very unclear. But otherwise, I was fine with it. What about you?
Yeah, that's a good point. Will she actually continue? Because she takes the herb for vengeance. She takes the herb so she can be strong, so she can defeat Namor. It's not like she took it to lead her people. That's not what she did it for. Exactly. She did it so that she could be on Namor's level and kill him. Mm-hmm. And so I am curious to see if she spins around and is like, okay, I'm accepting this on a different level now. And I am here to protect
my country. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish we could have seen her falling into tradition a little bit more, or like just having a deeper reverence for the traditional ways. Because her sending M'Baku and not even showing up is like, really?
She stops at tradition.
Yeah, I was just like, dang, you could have at least shown up and been like, hey guys, BT dubs, I'm, not going to take the throne, but I'm going to pass it on to M'Baku. This is who I nominate. Deuces. I gotta go. I would have loved to have seen.
She essentially did that by sending him on the ship.
To me, that's like, I don't know. Like,
I get it.
Like somebody offered you a job and you send your cousin instead, and they're like, hey, they didn't want the position, but I'm here. We graduated the same year.
That is so funny. You're right. What? You need to show up and be like, hey, I can't do it. My cousin here is going to help. You're right.
No email? No, nothing.
You're right. That's funny.
You're supposed to cater my baby shower. I sent my uncle. He gonna do it. Have fun. Enjoy it. I hope the potato salad's good.
Oh.
So, but it was a well-fulfilled arc. I thought you see her go through all the emotions of scrambling to save her brother, the guilt of not being able to save her brother. Because like you said earlier, she's the smartest mind, in the MCU that we know of so far. And even her in the most technologically advanced country could not save her brother. No. Could not do it. And so dealing with that guilt, that loss, that grief, and then having it piled on again when her mom dies and not being able to save her mother and watching her mother die in front of her, it's just like so much going on that you can understand why she wants to see the world burn. I would want to see the world burn too. And so, and then finally coming around to, all right, I need to save my people. Because she has that moment, right, where she's making that connection between Talokan and Wakanda, and it's like, oh, they're like us. Oh. She has that moment. So I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Fine.
All right. Fine. And we get an after credit scene because a Marvel movie gonna Marvel movie. And Shuri meets Nakia's secret son, Toussaint, whose real name is Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa. Who are you? I am Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa. While they are in Haiti, right? This is why Nakia's been hiding in Haiti since Thanos' attack. She's been laying low. This is why she did not come to the funeral. She explains that T'Challa did not want Toussaint to have the pressures of the throne and royalty put upon him. And so, asked that he be hidden away. We also learned that Ramonda had met him as well and knew of him. And it circles back to a moment earlier when they were in the bush and trying to do this ceremony. And Ramonda's like, sure, I have something to tell you about your brother. But that's when Namor pops up, right? And so we figure this is what she was going to say. And we also see that Nakia's been trying to get in touch with Shuri this whole time, but she hasn't been answering her calls. So here we are.
I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah, she was trying to get in contact with her. Go ahead. Get your thoughts. Go ahead. Do it.
When this scene popped up in the theater, immediately no. I don't want this. I don't like it. I think it's a cheap tug on the heartstrings. I don't see the need for it. I think it was good enough to have Shuri become the Black Panther and M'Baku become king. That was enough for me. Honestly, y'all could have kept the kid and give me Queen Ramonda back, basically. And that's my, I don't know if it's a hot take, but that's my take on it. Like, the kid is cute. I don't need him.
It's probably not that much of a hot take. I will say that, like, I agree with you that it can be seen as like cheaply pulling on the heartstrings and giving us something a little bit extra that's not necessary. It doesn't bother me the way that it bothers you.
It bothers me so much.
It bothers you a lot. You were very upset in the theater, and I was just like,
I was.
So I mean, I think if anything, it just made my like, wait, is the timelining for this to make sense? Like, when did this happen? I start trying to like piece it all together. And like it's fine. Like, you see in the first Black Panther movie at the end, you see T'Challa and Nakia making out. So if they got busy, that's Toussaint. Like, that's the timeline for that. So that's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't need it, but I also don't hate it. So it's fine. It's fine. The one thing though that I thought about today, and you may hate this, and a lot of people may hate this and think that this is stupid, but I was just, theorizing, just letting my brain go. In the comic books, the character T'Challa is married to a mutant named Storm. I don't know Storm's real name. They have a child together. Don't know that child's name. And when I started thinking about that, I was like, with them introducing mutants and the concept that taking an herb can unlock the X gene that someone may already have, is there a possibility that Nakia could become Storm?
You paused for a second.
Uh-oh. Did you hear what I said or no?
I did not. You said
that's fine.
What I was introducing mutants. That was the last thing I heard.
Okay, so what got me thinking was, in the comic books, let me just start over. In the comic books, T'Challa is married to Storm, the X-Men Storm. And they have a son. I don't know their actual names in the comic books, but they have a son. in this movie, they introduce mutants and suggest that taking the heart-shaped herb or taking the vibranium herb unlocked the X gene. Is there a possibility that Nakia can be Storm?
No, that's not her
Okay.
name.
No, I know that's not her name, but they change names all the time.
They do, but no.
If you don't want it, or you don't think that they would do it?
Nah, I just don't think that's the route they're gonna go at all.
Okay.
But what I will say, what it made me think of was like, if the Talakans taking their herb and then having children and all those powers get passed down, does Toussaint have that? Will he get Black Panther powers? Does he have Black Panther powers? It was making me kind of think of that, or maybe the herbs just work differently in different ways anyways, but that's what had me thinking, like, can the powers be passed down genetically?
I thought about Shuri having a baby and that baby having powers because she took the plant that was synthesized from the Talokan plant. But that's a good point. Toussaint could possibly have powers as well. I like that.
Or does it have to be from the mom? I don't know.
Right. Does the Black Panther have super sperm? That's the question. Right? Stop laughing at me. That's legitimately the question, right?
That is the question.
When you drink the potion that strips the powers away, does it also take away your super sperm and make you regular again? And then when you drink it again and you go to the ancestral plane and you come back, you're like supercharged again. Like everything about you. I like it.
But yeah,
Toussaint has powers because his dad has super sperm.
Or is it something like where it's like, he got to hit puberty first, maybe, whatever, and then
Probably.
But that's what it had me questioning, because if we're looking at the Talakans, like we see that this is passed down from generation to generation. They're not constantly taking the herb. It's not like kids are born and then that's what they're given. It's just passed down. So I'm curious to know, does it work the same way with the heart-shaped herb? Those are my thoughts. But that's funny.
I mean, if Shuri and T'Challa's dad was also the Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. So I guess it just doesn't work that way.
The original heart-shaped herb, probably not. But who knows with this synthetic one? If
yes.
Shuri, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay. I'm with you now.
Got it.
Also, will this kid play a role in the MCU going forward? Does he matter? I don't think so. But you never know. It's MCU.
You never know. I feel like he's 6 now? We got another 10 years at the minimum before he's relevant, probably, like on the big stage. Or we are going into the multiverse saga. An older version of him probably exists in another universe. So maybe that's where it might come in. Don't worry, guys.
It's a possibility. I roll my eyes because it's an actual possibility.
It's an actual possibility. So I feel like if they want him to play a role in some capacity in this saga, it would be that he exists in another universe, I would say. Older.
Also, I want to throw this out there.
Uh-oh.
I feel like a lot of times because they're doing this to be like, oh, his legacy lives on. Mm-hmm. Right? And it lives on through this child. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I don't feel like you need to have a child for your legacy to live on. Your actions and what you've done are enough. Yes, I know Tywin would disagree, but Tywin Lannister would definitely disagree. But we have a new Black Panther. The mantle continues and he's not forgotten. And if we're supposed to believe what all the Wakandans believe, which is, well, our ancestors live with us forever. Death is not the end. It truly goes on. It doesn't tug on my heartstrings to be like, oh, his legacy carries on with this child. Because then now you're putting all this pressure on this child that he didn't want on this child anyways.
He was always going to get the pressure. Okay.
He was always going to get it. Yeah. your daddy was this person, so are you this person? Let's make you this person. And it's like,
yeah. And I mean, that's the same pressure T'Challa felt about T'Chaka, right?
this is
So
true.
it's just the nature of the gig of being royalty in general. It's always going to be that. The one thing I do want to say, though, is that, yes, Shuri's now the Black Panther, so the Black Panther lives on. But T'Challa is more than just the Black Panther. So, like, separating that out and, like, yes, the legacy of the Black Panther lives on. Yes, that's fine. But T'Challa and, like, I guess what he stood for outside of being the Black Panther, how does that live on? I guess through his kid and Nakia. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Any other final thoughts about the movie?
It was great.
It was. It was really good.
Yeah.
Which one was better, the first or the second? I know you've thought about it. We've lightly discussed it. I know you thought about it.
Do you still feel like this one is better?
So for the audience, so y'all know, I went and watched this movie twice. And I have to say, if we're talking strictly technical, it's hard to separate it. I feel like they're definitely in the same tier. I feel like they're pretty much on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you are bringing in, this might have had better CGI. Might have had better CGI.
I mean, you got a million people, yeah.
If we're talking about which one do I like more, I feel like I would be more likely to revisit Wakanda Forever. And a big part of that is M'Baku, honestly. But I feel like I would be... From Namor, I love too. I feel like I would be more likely to revisit Wakanda Forever than I would Black Panther. But it's so hard because it's so embedded in us culturally now at this point, how significant both of these movies are at this point, that it's really, really hard. But I want to give the slight edge to Wakanda Forever. I want to. I gotta say though, if it was Wakanda Forever with T'Challa, whoo! With Chadwick?
The storyline would have been completely different, right? And I was thinking about this the other day too. Like, Ryan Coogler was done with the script for Wakanda Forever a couple of days before Chadwick passed away. And I think he sent it to him. And I think I saw the last conversation they had was like, "Hey, I'm done. Can't wait for you to read it. Yada yada yada." And so I wonder if they'll ever release that script in a couple of years or whatever to see what could have been. I'd be so interested to see that. I would love that too, to see what it was going to be, because they were always, I think, going to introduce Namor in this movie. So to see how they were planning on having T'Challa and Namor like do their dance, would be really, really, really interesting. So I think that these two movies are very much similar, on the same, as you said, the same tier for me. I think so. Black Panther as a movie, I never revisit as to rewatch. I don't know why. Again, I think part of it is there's not enough action / like relationship dynamics that are interesting to me, if that makes sense. Like, I'm more likely to revisit, as you know, Avengers, because there's like 6 super strong personalities, and like watching them like interact with each other is interesting to me. I feel very similarly about this, but I feel like I may more likely revisit this because of Namor and M'Baku and like how they interact with everyone. So I'm a little bit more interested in. I would give the edge to this one as well. So,
best MCU movie of the year?
Yes. What other MCU movies did we get this year?
Love and Thunder, Multiverse of Madness. I guess you could. Well, No Way Home was December last year.
Yeah, so it didn't count this year. Yes, this is better than Multiverse of Madness and Thor: Love and Thunder. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. By miles. it was a strong finish to Phase 4. Thank God, because they needed it. It was Struggle City for a minute. It was, yeah, it felt. So yeah, all right. Who was your MVP of the movie?
Namor, hands down, done.
State your case.
He won in the end. Barely any of his people died. 1, 2. He's going to get the war that he's always wanted. Huh?
I said so many Wakandans died.
So many Wakandans died. He's going to get the war that he's always wanted at some point. Like, that logic stands, in my opinion. He has another nation protecting his nation now, which is wild too. He like somehow got bodyguards out of all this. He's super fine, and like he's a mutant who can fly and breathe underwater. Like, he's like just dope.
Yeah,
and I'm excited for it. Definitely. I would love to see, and this is one thing I was thinking about too, that I would have loved to see on screen that makes me actually really sad. I would have loved to see Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa and Nick Fury just be in a scene together. Right?
Yes.
I mean, we see they're both at Tony's funeral, spoiler, but they're not talking to each other or interacting or whatever. Like, I want to see Nick Fury go to Wakanda, which we still may get at some point, but I want to see him there with like T'Challa, and I want to see T'Challa like laughing at him, like giving him that like sweet little, you're funny, like smile.
I'm gonna be sad tonight.
I'm sorry.
Damn it.
I'm sorry. But I thought about that earlier today and it made me smile. It's like, oh, that would have been really great to see. So I say all that to say that what made me think of that was like thinking about how Nick Fury would react to Namor, like, and like, oh, he'd be like, this mother effer could do what?
There's a whole bunch of other people like him. Yikes!
Wait, so there's some blue people in the sea that can breathe underwater?
Fish people?
Namor, he won to me.
All right, got you. My MVP is none other than M'Baku. That's my man. And I love it because I thought his character arc was amazing. I love seeing how he's become this full-fledged leader now. He's grown into his wisdom. He's funny as hell. He had the best lines in the movie, hands down.
They call him the serpent god.
The feather serpent god. So I thought he was great. The way he advises Shuri and has her back on everything, and just I loved it. I love his come up. I love to see a glow up, man, and this man glowed up throughout the entire movie. So to me, he was the MVP for sure, and was holding down that front line when there was 10 Wakandans left on our little cruise ship. So I'm here for it all. And guys, that was the movie. We did the thing. See, you want to take us out?
Yeah. So thanks for joining us today. Please stay tuned as we bring you our thoughts and reactions to more shows and movies as they come out. Like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our socials. We are Casual Fangirls on YouTube and at Casual Fangirls _ on Instagram and the TikTok. We're on TikTok now. So yeah, stay tuned. When as more things come out, we're gonna bring them to you as we see fit. And in the meantime, we're gonna rest a little bit because doing that Lord of the Rings and House of the Dragon run was like a lot.
So much. So
we had a lot of fun, but it was a lot. So we're gonna take rest in between these things, but just stay tuned. We're gonna keep it coming with content as much and as quickly as we can. So as always, I've been T.
And I'm Nessa.
And together we are the Casual Fangirls. We will see you all soon. Bye.